Hailey Reese, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so very grateful that you are here, and I really and truly do hope, as always, that you're having an absolutely incredible morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. It has been so much longer than I ever expected or would have hoped for since I've sat down and filmed a video here for you guys. And let me just start by saying I am so beyond excited to be back, and I'm even more excited to be spending every single day with you guys from now until the new year. If you guys have been following along on Instagram or just anywhere in my community tab, I've been sharing with you guys over the past couple of months how my family has been going through a lot of really unimaginable things and hard things behind the scenes. And I just have to take a moment and just say thank you so much to each and every one of you who recognized my absence here on YouTube and reached out to ask if I was okay, to ask if my family was okay, and sent me so much love, light, healing, well wishes, and kindness. I have said it so many times here on my channel, and every single time I say it, I'm like, I sound like a broken record, but truly with all that I am forever so beyond grateful for each and every one of you and for this incredible community that we have here, this family that we have here on YouTube. It just means more to me than you could ever know. And so while I was away, I was still thinking of each and every one of you, and I was reading all of your comments and all of your love, and I am so inspired and so excited to be back here and again to be starting off Reesemas 2025, where I am uploading a new video every single day. And today I am finally sitting down to tell you guys everything that has been going on since we became the proud owners of a haunted trailer and since we started investigating it. That was my last video here in October, and so much has happened since then that it did not feel right to get into this month's videos and the daily uploads without starting right here. So that is exactly what we're gonna do, because while I might have been away and it might have been quiet here on YouTube, things were happening behind the scenes, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys think and all of your different theories, because I don't know where this is going yet, and you guys always tend to see things before they even happen. So let's get into that. Okay, so for those of you who may be new here, or since it's been a while, might need a quick refresher on the haunted trailer and the entire situation. Back in October, I had shared with you guys that Tyler and I found out from my stepdad, Jeremy, that there was a family who owned a really old, run-down trailer that was having a lot of paranormal activity. And because of this, they were in a hurry to get rid of this trailer and just have it completely taken out of their lives. So one way or another, I'm sure you're wondering why, we had decided that instead of it just going straight to the dump, or instead of them doing whatever it is that they were going to do to quickly get rid of the trailer, that we could take the trailer, do some investigating, hopefully make some sort of a connection with the spirits, and hopefully cross them on or cleanse the trailer before it ended up going to be scrapped. Now, for those of you who may be wondering, especially with what my mom does for a living and everything going on in her house, why we would bring such a haunted item to somebody in my family's house, especially with the craziness that has been the year 2025 in my family. But my mom actually lives on like hundreds of acres of land. She's got her house, and then there's like a big field, surrounding fields, a horse farm, just a whole lot of property. And so where we decided to actually place the trailer wasn't anywhere close to where my mom is or where the kids are, or like really where anyone goes, unless of course they're looking to go seek out the trailer. And it wasn't unusual or bizarre for my mom to have a trailer on her property, because they actually already have 2 other trailers before this trailer came to the property as well, for like people who stay there in the summer, people visiting, all that stuff. It's kind of like camping grounds, camping vibes. So we did exactly that, and I had kind of shared our first time going to see the trailer with you guys in my part 1 video. And in that video, Tyler and I had decided to go out in the dark and see the trailer for the first time, kind of get a feel for what the energy's like, what the trailer looks like, and overall just like vibe out the energy. Going there at night and lighting up the trailer just in the eerie nothingness surrounding it. And what I mean by that is just with the fields surrounding it, the forest surrounding it, and really nobody in sight, it was automatically this really eerie feeling. And as you could see in the footage, we realized very quickly that we weren't going to be able to really go inside of the trailer, not only because it's like full of stuff, like all the original things are inside of the trailer still, but also just because it would probably be dangerous in the middle of the night to decide to just climb inside without like properly assessing it. Leave it to me. I'm like, I'll go ghost hunting, I'll do the crazy stuff, but let me assess the safety of the situation physically first. But we had basically went there and the vibes were exactly what you could expect, being in the middle of an empty field, in the middle of the night with just your flashlights and then this haunted trailer. It really added this like spooky ambiance. We right away both felt like something was there. And again, I want to take into consideration and take into account the skeptic side of everything as well, and understand that it would be human nature to be in the middle of a dark field with a very creepy looking trailer and to get the feeling that you're being watched, or to get the feeling that something or someone else is around. It really did and does look like some sort of horror movie. So I can completely understand that, but right away we did start making connection. Now, my initial plan with that video was to share with you guys the trailer, to kind of show you the crazy things that came through that first night, and then to do our part 2 where we really talked about everything that had been happening since the trailer arrived and further investigate the trailer as well, which is why I said to be continued. Now, that particular night, Tyler had taken a bunch more footage. And so after our initial investigation, and I'll cover more about that in a second, I had went home and uploaded my first part, and then shortly after this, unfortunately, I had gotten really, really sick. For those of you who are like, why are you always getting sick? I actually have half of a left lung. Half of my left lung was removed when I was 19, and I have a really bad immune system, and I tend to get a lot of respiratory infections. It's kind of just something that I've dealt with in the fall and winter time my whole life. And so Tyler actually posted our second part from that night on his channel, and we'd done it as a collab. So I'd hoped that you guys would see that part of the video, but I did read a lot of comments saying that you guys just didn't even see that video. You didn't know that that had been released. And so I will have that part linked down below because I do think it's really interesting. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to talk about from that right now before we get into the crazy things, the actual things that have been manifesting and occurring since this trailer arrived. We'll get there in a second. Guys, this is what happens when I don't talk to you every single day. I feel like it's like information overload that I'm trying to relay to you. I promise in the upcoming videos, I will have much better structure. I'm just excited. It's like I'm telling my friends everything that's been happening. But Tyler had uploaded that second part of our video. And again, I will have it linked for you guys to watch down below. We had noticed that we initially felt things. We both had thought that we'd seen movement in the trailer. We both had thought that we had heard things. We both had seen some pretty crazy things happening while we were there. And immediately we start getting things coming through all of the means of communicating that we were doing with whatever spirits may be around. But one thing that I had taken note of, and you'll see a lot of this in Tyler's portion of the video, is that there was a lot of really beautiful things coming through. And they talked about sacred land, and they talked a lot about these like really beautiful things and holding on to their memory. And so the combination of feeling the energy that this family no doubt felt being around this trailer, sensing the movement, sensing the spirit activity, and then also though simultaneously having things coming through very quickly. And again, that wasn't even our full investigation yet. We're going to be doing that this week. We quickly would hear all of these beautiful things. And I start wondering if it's spirits from the land coming through, or if perhaps these really active spirits that are attached to this trailer are in fact telling us that this isn't any sort of a negative haunting. Now, just to recap again and just to kind of point back out, when we had initially decided to take the trailer, we took it because everything that we'd heard about the haunting didn't sound like anything evil, like anything malicious, like anything dark. And don't get me wrong, I am well aware that dark entities, that demonic forces can play to be something else at first. I am absolutely aware of that, and I keep that in the back of my mind with any interaction that I have spiritually. But I just didn't get that energy. And so when all of these things started coming through that were like, sacred land, that were like, preserve my memory, all these things, I'm thinking, maybe we really can hear the story. We had our experience there that night. And again, this was before I got sick. So we intended to come back like a couple of days later and film our big full investigation where we really establish ourselves there. We really try to make connection. We properly, take all of the steps to make a real, genuine connection without any disrespect towards the spirits of the space, without them feeling like, this is being made a mockery of, or whatever the case may be. And we had left there and immediately we're like, you know what? Something is absolutely in this trailer. Now, when I had gotten sick, Tyler had gotten a little bit, not disappointed that I was sick, but disappointed and bummed out because we'd had, again, all of these intentions to go back after the things that had came through in our first time. We really wanted to go back and properly investigate because we knew that there was absolutely something here. They'd made their presence known, and now we wanted to really sit down and hear the story of it all and hopefully get, that paranormal evidence of this haunting. And so he had decided, while I was still sick, to go out there and kind of see what would happen when he went out there alone. And he did exactly that. He decided to go out there at night all by himself, entirely by himself. If you guys know, Tyler can be jumpy. He's brave, but he is jumpy. And he went down there totally by himself to see what kind of connection he could make. And once again, he's getting these positive things. He's making this connection with these spirits, and there were some really eerie things that came through as well. I will have this video linked for you at the top of my description as well, because again, I think it's really important and worth the watch to kind of see the lead up to our big investigation. But there he was, talking with these spirits, and a couple of really interesting things came through. One thing that ended up coming through was about a filing cabinet, which didn't really make much sense at the time. I mean, Tyler had thought to himself, perhaps there's a filing cabinet in there, which we still have yet to go inside and kind of dig through the actual belongings of the trailer. We haven't got that far yet. Unfortunately, about the timing where we've decided to start investigating this trailer is we do live in Canada, and we are now in a full-blown winter. But we haven't had the chance to look and see if perhaps there is some sort of filing cabinet inside of the trailer that could perhaps have more information about them or who these people may have been or whatever the story is. But interestingly enough, that would become important afterwards. And another really interesting thing that Tyler had got on his personal and solo investigation at the trailer was that names of certain beings were coming through, specifically of archangels. And the specific archangel that had came through, the name of the archangel that had came through, Tyler ended up looking into it after and kind of learning more about this particular archangel. And I'll put a screenshot up on the screen. But one thing that we found really, really interesting, I'm just going to pull it up here on my phone for a moment, is that this particular archangel in some traditions is associated with leading souls to judgment and healing, and specifically is linked to children, especially those whose parents have sinned, overseeing their protection and their spiritual well-being. Now, it is not up to me to ever talk about other people's sins or what sins may or may not be. But what I found interesting when it came to an archangel being a protector of children, specifically on my mom's property, is that my mom is a foster mom. She is a very, very loving, safe, incredible home for these children in their times of need. And just truly, if anybody should have become a foster parent, it is absolutely my mother. Her and Jeremy have done incredible, incredible work with these children. And I just found it to be really interesting that throughout so many of the positive things that were being said and coming through on the property and by the trailer, such as, sacred land and holy grounds and things like that, we're also hearing about archangels that are protectors of children. And I found that to be really, really interesting. So we're taking note of all of this, right? And this is where things start to become very, very strange. So there was one day in particular, my mom was at the hospital and I was at the house with Jeremy helping out with the kids. And so we're in the living room. It's Tyler and I in the living room with, the kiddos. And my one little brother is in his room, just completely minding his business. And Jeremy's just working on some things around the house. Now, as we're sitting there, I'm feeding the baby. So I'm giving the baby a bottle. And I just hear like a little noise come from my brother's room, like towards his room. And I see him come around the corner and he looks like really, really perplexed, like really just confused about something. And so I ask him, I'm like, buddy, like what's going on? And he says that he thought he saw someone in the hallway and now his light won't stop flickering. Can I come fix it? So again, I'm on the couch feeding the baby the bottle. Jared's just doing something that he has to be doing. And obviously like we're there to help out. And so Tyler looks at him and looks at me and I'm like, go check it out. Like I'm sure it's nothing. He gets up and he follows the little guy to his room. And that's where he comes back, like Tyler, to tell me that 100% the light in his room was flickering. And we're not talking like a bulb going out where it's like flickering, stop, or like a weird little pattern to the flickers. It was just full on, like as if someone was messing with the light switch. What's really creepy is that nobody had been messing with the light switch and that his particular light that he was talking about had like the pull string as well. And that wasn't being messed with either. And so when he was like, I thought I had seen someone, we're like, who did you think you saw? And he was like, I don't know, like one of you guys. Totally valid. But none of us had been there. He was in his room. And again, Jared was here. Tyler and I were here and we were not near his room. So I found that to be a little bit interesting. I'm like, that's really bizarre. And when Tyler had went in, he said he got like chills, which anyone would when a kid's like, my lights are flickering and like weird stuff's happening. But he got chills and he thought like, if this is anything paranormal, like in his mind, he's thinking it like, stop. And the light just stops. Now, granted, we never said any of this around him because we don't talk about this stuff around any of my little siblings. They are children. They do not need to be scared or spooked or whatever the case may be. But we were like, wait a second, that's so weird. And so as he goes back to doing what he's doing, I look at Tyler and I'm like, hold on a sec. That is so bizarre. And that's when Tyler proceeds to tell me that the other day, he had been in my mom's boot room. It's like the in-between of the garage and their actual main house. And in there, they have like a couple extra fridges and freezers. And then they keep all like the coats and the boots. And yeah, that's where it gets the name, the boot room. And so they had been in there, Tyler and Jeremy was telling Tyler how this light, whenever he's like doing things in there, it like flickers on him weird and that he's tried replacing the bulb and everything, but like the light will just flicker weird on him. And as like Tyler and I go out, like as if we're like investigators, like we go out to go and see like the area as he's telling me this, that's when I realized that inside of this boot room, my mom has a filing cabinet, which is totally random because again, it's a boot room. Like the filing cabinet isn't supposed to be there. It's kind of just in there for the time being. And yet there's a filing cabinet in the room that the light is like flickering even when it's being replaced. And my stepdad can't figure out why. And there's a filing cabinet. So I started to wonder, and I'll leave this up to you guys to let me know what you think, whether or not that was just some sort of validation as well. Now keep in mind, the trailer is not close to the house, but it is now on the property. And again, nothing creepy has been happening in their house other than like strange lights flickering. And you guys have heard here on my channel that strange things have happened in my mom's house over the years. But I mean, I found it to be really interesting and really strange that when Tyler said like, if this is paranormal and you're doing this, stop. And he looks up and the light just stops. So I really want to know what you guys think of that. If you think it's just a coincidence or if you think it has maybe something to do with it, definitely let me know. But like little strange things have absolutely been happening. Even so that like at the top of the hill. So I think we showed you guys halfway, like the halfway point from where like when you walked down and we started filming towards where the trailer is. But from up at the top, even Jeremy has said that he heard like what sounded like someone saying hello and he couldn't see anyone. Now, could someone have been over at the barn and been like yelling it? Absolutely. But like when he looked around, there was nobody in sight and that was a little strange. And he kind of told me that as a joke, being like, your trailer, like what's going on? But that is basically where we're at. And the next steps now with the trailer are basically going to be to go and fully investigate it and just see what comes through, what's in there, what we can discover about it. And just furthermore, hopefully understand the story surrounding the haunting. I think so often we get fascinated by the idea of the paranormal and the idea of these hauntings that we often forget that these were real people. These were real beings, real souls. I mean, unless there's something evil. But I mean, these were real people with real life experiences and real stories to be told. And my goal is to really emphasize who they were and what their story is. Because if they're this active, they must have something they want to share. Again, we did post the part 2 and then Tyler's solo investigation. I thought when I did a collab that you guys would be notified. I did post it in my community tab, but I know that not all of you check it there. Make sure that you guys are following me on Instagram if you guys want like daily updates and things like that. My Instagram it's Hailey Reese. You guys can see it down in my description box below. That's kind of where you guys will get your daily updates on things. But that is basically where we're at. Our next steps are going to be to investigate it deeper, further, make it more documentary style. I really want to document the entire experience with you guys. It's very rare that we get to investigate something so old and abandoned and creepy without the fear of, you know, being on private property or being somewhere that we're not allowed to be filming or being somewhere that's dangerous. As much as it's really, really creepy on my mom's property, it's my mom's property, so I'm not particularly worried about what could happen out there besides, like, maybe if the wolves got me, I don't know. But I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think thus far. Again, I will have all those videos linked down in my description for you to watch before we get into the bigger video. And I want to know from you, what kind of things do you want me to ask? What kind of investigating do you want me to do? We've got a whole bunch of new stuff that I'm really excited to bring on these investigations and just to really see what's going on. So let me know what you guys want to see next down below. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you enjoy my content, I would love it more than you would ever know if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button. And please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until tomorrow, I love you. Bye, guys.